It's a pleasure to spend a few minutes with you here and tell you about one of the programs at Wesleyan that we're particularly proud of, and the work that has been done just collaboratively across the institution to get us to this place. Just as a little background, 4 years ago, we started our QEP, which is Quality Improvement Project, Enhancement Project, that's why it's an E, Quality Enhancement Project, which was a requirement of our accreditors, SACS, COC. And I wasn't here at the time, so but they picked this initiative from here to career and helping our students get the kind of career experience that they needed so that they could be successful post graduation. It really has been a transformative project for Wesleyan, and we went from career services that was maybe a little hit and miss to a fully developed center with a 4-year plan that is integrated across academics and student life, and is really integrated and has really gotten actually some national attention for the kind of work that we've been able to do. One of the things we've been able to do since we're small is really leverage relationships across campus in a really meaningful way. So you probably have known in the past, we had a director of our Center for Career Development was Stephanie Baugh, and you might have known her, and she left us just recently at Christmas time for an opportunity on the West Coast to be closer to family. And we had, as an assistant director, Dr. Mallory Neal, who had worked for us for a year. Well, Stephanie came to me when she told me that she was going to take this other opportunity. And I said, what do you think about Mallory for the director position? And she said, honestly, I don't think we're going to find anybody better. And you know what? She was right. We had just within us, you know, somebody who had understood our program from start to finish, who has a real keen mind, who has a relationship with our students, who has a passion for this work. And so I was very, very pleased to appoint Mallory just, you know, January. We're talking just brand new in this particular part of her job. But she has really been able to it's just been a smooth transition for us. And I don't even really think that there's been much disruption for our students, except that they liked Stephanie also and they miss her. And Mallory's in the process of searching for an assistant director and is in the kind of interview process that we might have something by next week to fill that assistant director. We went ahead and opened that because we knew that a fully staffed career center is really key to this initiative being successful. So I've asked Mallory today to kind of share some of the work that the CCD, that's what we call it, the CCD is doing, and this initiative. And so I'm pleased to turn it over to Mallory.
Thank you for that very kind introduction, and hello everyone. I do have a presentation I just want to walk through that introduces, as Provost Blake mentioned, some of our key features of the Center for Career Development, our philosophy, and how we approach career development for our students, and really what makes Wesleyan so unique in terms of career development and how it is integrated so thoroughly on and off campus for our students. So I do have a slideshow we are going to. Okay. So, and Provost Blake introduced me, but a little bit more about my background is actually I grew up in Macon, Georgia. So I am originally from the Middle Georgia area. I went off and earned my doctorate degree in history. So I have a strong love of the humanities and the liberal arts approach to education. I've grown and developed so much because of that. And so I know the benefits that it can bring to our students. And so as Provost Blake mentioned, I was the assistant director as of August 2019 and have entered into this role as director as of January and have really loved getting to know this component of the department and really establishing a vision for how we can help students and how we can continue to grow and just add to the work that has been done over the past 4 years to create this into a center that really helps and values student experiences and helps them articulate that for their future career plans. So overall, the mission of the Center for Career Development, or the CCD, or as we sometimes get confused as the CDC, especially this past year, it is to help equip students with the knowledge and resources to succeed in their career and professional exploration. And so we take a more hands-on approach, but we really don't want to say that we're a placement department. We don't like to say that we place students. Rather, we help them develop the skills and gain the resources necessary that can help them no matter at which stage of their career path that they're on. Because, I mean, even though career and life coaches are becoming more and more prevalent, they can be pretty expensive. And so, yes, our students can use the information they get from us immediately after graduation, but we hope that they can continue to pull on those skills and information as they go on to their next job, as they seek promotions. So giving them a foundation that will benefit them for a long time, even after they leave Wesleyan. So that is our core mission. So what does that look like in terms of how we work with students on some academic year basis and on a weekly or day-to-day basis? First, the Center for Career Development helps facilitate the experiential learning process. So I'm sure you've probably heard of internships, correct? And so experiential learning is where students take their academic and coursework knowledge and apply that to a professional setting. Now, internships are the most common of those, but there are also other ways that students are able to apply that knowledge and gain experience that will be relevant for them in their post-graduation steps. Two components of that experiential learning process specific to Wesleyan are there are two courses that allow students to gain that experience and then learn how to articulate it and talk about it to an outside party. The first is PDE 400, the Professional Development Experience. So PDE 400, it is an experience and there is also an online course component. So as I mentioned, internships are the most common route that students pursue, but we also understand that our student body is extremely diverse and their goals and career paths are going to be very different from one another. And so we wanted to allow that diversity within the experience categories that students could pursue. So oftentimes if students are planning to pursue graduate school, they can take on the research option, which allows them to identify a topic and explore a personal research project that allows them to gain those specific skills that will help them in their future academic pursuits. Our fine arts students, such as our music, our studio art students, may want to get a little bit more creative within their experience. And so we have the performance or exhibit option where they can work on that category throughout the semester. And then at the end, they can hold an exhibit or promote a performance for campus to attend. And then lastly, community engagement and service is a key feature of the Wesleyan College experience and something that our students really gravitate towards. And so we wanted to make sure we had an option that would speak for those students. And so we have the leadership category, wherein students can either volunteer at a nonprofit organization, or they can identify a social need and develop a project that would allow them to address that need, either on campus or within the local community. In addition to having that experience off or on campus, the PD 400 also incorporates orientation sessions where we talk about professional actions in the workplace, professional communication, to make sure that they feel prepared as they enter that professional setting. They also complete reflections throughout the semester where they're thinking about different components of their experience. So how are they developing specific skills? What are they learning about themselves as a person outside of the classroom? And how will this experience benefit them in the long run for their future career goals? In addition to those, there's also extra levels of support where the CCD works with the student if they have any questions. But with that online course that they register for, they also have faculty support. So it's a way for students to get that vital experience while also feeling like they're still connected here to Wesleyan and have the information and support that they need to succeed. Now we have another component which is very similar in name, so PDE 401. Now this is a professional practice seminar. So it's a class that the students meet in weekly, and it touches on key topics that don't really get explored as much in the traditional classroom setting. Some of our students like to refer to it as like Adulting 101, because we explore financial literacy, budgeting, the importance and how to use credit. We also talk about the importance of networking and making those professional connections and how that can benefit you in your future career. And then we also encourage students to conduct an informational interview where they connect with someone in their field or industry and gain important insights to how that person pursued their career and what advice they would give to someone just starting out. And so we get really great reactions and reviews from students, and both PDE 400 and 401 are graduation requirements for students. So we have these intentional touch points that really allow them to, like I said, gain that experience and then learn how to articulate what they learned from it. In addition to fostering and facilitating that experiential learning process, we also hold information sessions throughout the semester on relevant topics. So just some examples of ones that we have or have already had this semester or that are coming up. We had an employer spotlight with an HR representative from Geico this past week. We have a series called Identity in the Professional World. So focusing specifically on different identity groups that we find here on campus and how their professional experience may be impacted by that identity. So getting more focused on the resources and information that is available for students. And then we have an Adulting 101 class where we have a financial literacy expert from Robbins Financial Credit Union coming, and she is going to be discussing understanding credit, how to build it, how to keep it, and how to not have it drop. Because we find that when students are thinking about going off or living on their own for the first time, they have some of these financial questions that they may not know who to go to. And so we thought it was really important to bring this subject to our students as well. Now, these are just some. We have a variety on the calendar for this semester. We also, an important component are our one-on-one appointments. So students, I have an open door policy in terms of, I say there are no silly questions. I meet students where they're at, whether if they come to us the first time and they have absolutely no idea what they want to do and they feel like they can't come to the CCD because they don't have a clear idea, or we'll interact with students who know exactly what they want to do, but they need to work backwards to figure out how to achieve that ultimate goal. So again, trying to just encourage the students to come to us with any questions that they may have, and we can identify the information and the resources that they need to take those necessary next steps. And then we also have, which is one of our campus initiatives, and how we incorporate career development into curricular and co-curricular activities. We have what is called the Here to Career Skills Toolkit. Now, you may have heard this term of transferable skills, or they're sometimes referred to as soft skills. And what these are skills that can transcend different experiences. They're not specific to a particular field or industry or dependent on that particular content knowledge. Rather, they're skills that will help you, if you learned it in one experience, you can then take it and apply it to a new career path or a new professional experience because you have learned it. And so about a couple of years ago, a committee on campus comprised of faculty and staff kind of did national and local research and identified 6 key skills that our students learned during their time at Wesleyan College. And so once those skills were identified, we then thought of ways of how we could disseminate it and spread it across campus, where they're not just encountering it when they talk to the CCD, but faculty will include these skills on their syllabi. Coaches may consider talking to their athletes of how they're developing certain skills. Presentations. I saw an email today where the Lane Center sent out an email and highlighted a particular skill that they could learn from one of the service experiences. So we have those 6 skills, and they are professional communication, data-informed decision-making, creative problem solving, inclusive teamwork, change management, and civic and community engagement and service. And I won't go through and read all of these definitions, but if you're interested in receiving a copy of this document, you can let me know and I will be happy to send it to you. But again, our goal was to create a common vocabulary where as students are experiencing things on campus and taking classes and participating in their clubs, they're hearing these phrases and these words repeated and making that connection of, in participating in this club event, I am developing this skill. And that helps the CCD out, because then when they come to us and we ask, well, what experiences have you had and how have you developed skills within those experiences? We don't get the sit in silence like look on the face that can sometimes happen. Instead, students are able to bring these terms to the table as we're talking about ways to highlight their different experiences. And so we're continuing this work to bring this to campus, but the initial stages of incorporating it into the classroom have already begun. And then I also want to touch on the 4-year plan that Provost Blake mentioned. And this is a really key component to ensure that we're not just interacting with Wesleyan students in the last semester of their senior year and they're coming to us frantic, being like, I don't know what I'm doing. I haven't created a resume yet. What is career exploration? With this plan, those fears and that kind of franticness is avoided. So let me touch on a little bit about what the 4-year plan is at Wesleyan and how it benefits our students and why it really sets us apart from other institutions. So, as I mentioned previously, Wesleyan College incorporates career development into both curricular and co-curricular activities. And so why is this unique? At different institutions, especially larger institutions, career services exist, but it takes the student taking the initiative to go to those departments and ask for help and resources. So it's a kind of participate on a voluntary basis. With Wesleyan and the 4-year plan, it's incorporated where we have intentional touch points with students throughout all 4 years of their time at Wesleyan. So by the time they get to that senior year, they know what career exploration is. They have a vision for the path that they want to pursue. And that last year is just fine-tuning their resources, creating and expanding their network, and starting those application processes. And it's designed also to ensure that students make the most of their 4 years at Wesleyan and are prepared, as we've mentioned, for a successful career after graduation. So what that 4-year plan looks like at Wesleyan. We work with students, the Center for Career Development, from the first semester that students are on campus. You may not be familiar, but there is a first-year seminar that is required for all first-year students. And the CCD is representative where we teach. So I've been an instructor for that course, and Stephanie was as well. But we also have 2 sessions that are group sessions where all the different students come together and we talk about the nonlinear career paths, what is career exploration and how they can go about it. And we also, for another session, do a self-assessment piece where they're able to identify It's called Focus 2, and it takes information and answers that other people have given and gives proposed career paths that students may want to explore and investigate. Now, it's not the traditional test that you may be familiar with where they take it and it immediately says, you are going to be a teacher or you are going to be a pilot. It's more it allows for more exploration than that, but it does give some language for students who don't really have a clue what they want to do, and so gives them some options to explore. Year 2, the sophomore year, students have gotten over the initial nerves of entering into college, and so we really encourage them during this year to continue that self-exploration and career exploration process. So think about what their core values and interests are, how that could translate into a career path, and begin exploring what could be an experiential learning opportunity that they would want to pursue in their junior or senior year. So really allowing for that moment of exploration during the sophomore year. Now, year 3 and year 4 are when things get a little bit more intense for the students. They're starting to think about those official next steps that they want to take. And so this is when they can start completing those PDE course requirements that I mentioned before. So really getting that necessary experience, building up the resume, and coming to the CCD to review those materials. So that is really where we work with students during their 3rd and 4th year. So that's a little bit of an overview. I know that was a lot of information, but just wanting to give you an idea of the different ways that the Center for Career Development aims to provide resources and support students, and how we're really integrated into Wesleyan in a unique way that I'm really proud of and I'm really happy to be a part of. And I know Provost Blake really kind of is our champion as well. So wanting to bring this information to alumni to share in the resources that we connect students with. Another question that I also often get from alumni is, how can I get involved? How can we help current students? What support can we provide? So the last little bit that I want to talk about is the ways that you can get involved, because there are a variety of different options and ways that I'm able to connect you one-on-one or through different types of sessions. So let me talk a little bit about how are the different ways to get involved. So you may have heard of Purple Briefcase, and we do have an option where you can create a mentor profile on Purple Briefcase. And this allows you to indicate your prior work experience or the industry that you came from, whether you're currently in it or have been retired. You're able to note that as well. I have some additional resources about creating and utilizing Purple Briefcase. And so if that's something that interests you, please let me know and I can get connected with Kathy and we can send those details to you. Another key way to get involved, and something that I've been expanding on this semester, is volunteering for an information session. And sometimes people fear that, oh, the perspective that I have, or I don't have the right kind of career experience that would benefit a student or the current students today. And I want to get rid of those assumptions, because really, honestly, sometimes I think the students get tired of hearing from me about career exploration. And so when we can bring in new voices and new perspectives from a variety of different industries, it really adds and makes for a more well-rounded experience for students. So some of the different focuses that we do for information sessions are identity in the professional world. So we're wanting to expand and be more inclusive in our resources. So targeting specific identity groups is something that we want to continue to do. So if you have a unique perspective that you would like to share, we're happy to facilitate that. Next are career pivots. So something that has become more and more prevalent on the career development scene is the notion that a lot of career paths now are non-linear. where someone may enter into a specific industry, but at some point they may change directions or go into a new type of position. So if you have experience with making a career pivot or going through or considering those types of questions, I'd love to hear from you and to facilitate that type of information session. And then lastly, just if you have a perspective of a career in a specific industry. So like I said, I want to bring as many different perspectives and a wide range of career paths to students. And so if you think you would like to talk to students about your chosen industry that you had, I would happy to connect you in that way and have information session. We also, as I mentioned with our professional development seminar, we encourage students to participate and conduct informational interviews. And so what this is, it's not an interview to get a job or an internship. So there's no agenda for that, for a type of employment. Rather, an informational interview allows students to connect with people in positions that they're interested in or in industries that they want to explore, and just ask questions about how you got into that industry. How did you reach that particular position? What decisions did you make or choices, encounters did you have during that process? And then lastly, what are some skills or what would make for a strong person just entering into that industry? So it's a great learning opportunity for students. We say to keep it to 20 to 30 minutes, so it's not a long time commitment, but it can provide some vital insights for students who are trying to explore and identify the career path that they want to pursue. And then lastly, if you have hiring experience and or have experience reviewing resumes or conducting that hiring process, we do invite alums and employers to conduct a guest resume review session, wherein the students will submit their resumes to me and I will provide them. And that'll give you then have an opportunity to connect with students one-on-one to provide your feedback and perspective on that resume. So that's just an additional way to connect. Okay, well, that is all the information that I have for you. And hopefully this has provided some insights again to the role of the CCD on campus and how we work to help with students. And so I will stop sharing. And this is my email and my phone number if you would like to connect, to ask further questions, or to volunteer for any types of opportunities. And Kathy, I can also make sure Kathy can share this information to the participants here today. So I will stop sharing my screen. Okay. Oh, Kathy, you're on mute.
Thank you, Mallory. That was a great presentation. And I want to ask if anyone has questions for Mallory.
I just love the follow through from freshman year to senior and the connectedness of it. And I'd love to take Adult 101.
Yes, it's an experience. It's a class where students are a little hesitant at the beginning of the semester or when they're having to register for it. When they first hear, they're like, why do I have to take it? But we get rave reviews from it by the, yes, yeah. It's because it's things that you need to know, like when you're going to live out on your own for the first time, but doesn't get covered in your content or major specific classes. So it's been really valuable for students.
This shows you how brave Mallory was. So her first moment here, I said to her, why don't you team teach the class with me? So the poor thing has to team teach a class with the provost. She was so much better than me. I loved it.
Well, I think the life after Wesleyan component is a very important one, and one that alums can share information with, in addition to supporting students with information on their careers.
I have a question.
Yes.
Hi, Mallory. It's nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you.
I have two questions. I love the 4-year plan. I'd like to know how many credits the students get for those classes and who are the instructors just generally in those 4 years.
Great question. So I'll start with our adulting class. So our PDE 401 is a 1 credit class. So students receive 1 academic credit. They're held during our split terms. So we have a split term A, which is the first half of the semester, and a split term B, which is the second half of the semester. And this allows for students to fit the course within their busy schedules. And we also have in-person and online options to really allow for accessibility and whatever needs fit for the student. So the 401 class is 1 credit hour. For the PDE 400 professional development experience, students can register for multiple hours of that, but we have a little bit of a formula. So for 48 hours of experience work that they do, so I'll just say for internship will be the easiest way to explain it. For every 48 hours, they can register for 1 academic credit. So if it's a full-time internship, they can register for multiple hours, and they're capped at a certain amount by the registrar. On average, students tend to register for 1 to 2 credit hours, just so they don't go into overload or kind of overextend themselves in terms of the amount of credits they can register for.
And teachers or instructors?
Oh, yes, instructors. We are able to pull from a variety of different departments. One of our key champions, and I work very closely, is Dr. Donovan, Barbara Donovan, the political science professor. Megan McMahon from accounting is also a key person for our PDE online class. We also pull from staff. So Provost Blake, as she mentioned, has taught. I've taught the 401 class. We have an individual from admissions, Jessica Tucker, has taught the class before. We've had faculty from the music department, from the psychology department, because our goal is people from the different faculty members, different staff are going to bring their own experiences to the table. So we want to offer those variety of perspectives. But the CCD kind of has the core documents and information to make the assignments uniform across the different sections and have those learning outcomes be the same, but allowing the faculty to add their little flares and own unique perspectives throughout the different lessons.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
I have a question.
Yes.
Do you have anything that prepares them for the initial job interview, that first job, or not necessarily an internship, the job that they really want, the nerves and the content, and ways to get around questions they may not really want to answer? Is there some little lab, or it might even be a presentation, something that's already canned from another source, but something that gives them some confidence as they go into that situation?
Don't they even have to dress professionally? I mean, they do an interview, I think.
Yes. We offer a variety of interview support. So there's several different levels that they can pursue. First, our online platform that we use, Purple Briefcase, offers interview practice where a student can record themselves answering particular questions. And when it gets submitted, they receive feedback. So that they can do on a kind of on-demand basis. So if they're late at night and they want to run through some things and the office is not available, they have that option. But then in terms of one-on-one appointments, I make sure to advertise to students that we can do mock interviews, and those can occur in person if the interview will be in person, which is not as regular right now. But we can also schedule a virtual mock interview. And for those sessions, I do a little bit of research. I get some information from the student about the company that they're interviewing with, that industry, and find common interview questions that are asked in those types of spaces. I will ask those questions to the student, and then afterwards we'll do a debrief of here's where you had your strength in answering this question. Here's how we can adjust your focus where you don't feel like you're rambling as much, because we sometimes can have a tendency to do that without the preparation, or if the nerves get control of us. So we offer that support as well. And then in addition, in terms of the dress, we have our clothes closet inventory, which is where we've received donations of clothing, which we have over 800 pieces. And so if a student comes to us and says, I have an interview and nothing to wear, we take them to the closet and allow them to look through and identify some professional dress that would be useful for their interview. And so we make sure to do that as well. But those are topics where we have resource sheets out front that students can grab on demand. And those are topics that we incorporate into our information sessions throughout the semester as well.
You know, just about buy-in from alums and that clothing closet. I know that there have been times when there's been a drive for that clothing.
Mm-hmm.
But since we've all been away from Wesleyan and alumni events in person for a while,
Mm-hmm.
maybe it's something people would bring to the next in-person
Mhm.
reunion we have.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. I'm just thinking off the top of my head.
And they have, and Macon alums have brought things to the closed closet as well. So yes, it's a very important thing that they could do.
I think
Because we continually want, because we've had some clothes that have been there for a couple of years, and so we kind of want to rotate out and give some fresh options for students as the years go by. So we're continuously accepting donations. Right now we have to kind of set them aside for a couple of weeks before we can incorporate them. But yes, we are still accepting.
I just think you might get more than just clothing, but a heightened awareness of the project among a variety of alumni.
Absolutely.
Excellent.
Valerie, this is Beverly, and
Hi, Beverly.
I have 25 questions.
Okay, let me get my note pen. I got my pen down.
No, I'm just going to ask one, but your presentation was very good, and if you're paying attention to it, you just can come up with all kinds of questions about, well, what if? So I guess I'll start with this question. You talked about the transferability of skill. Were those 6 items that you projected on the screen? Okay. And the faculty worked hours on developing those, I'm sure.
Mm-hmm.
Those probably emerged as the 6 key transferability skills.
Mm-hmm.
So it's one thing to have the head knowledge about it. It's another to put them into practice.
Mm-hmm.
So presuming that the students have internships, do all have internships, or just, because that's not my major question, but do all of them have internships?
All of our students, they'll do the PDE, the experience. The majority of them will be internships, but some do choose the research option or the community service option.
Okay.
But all students who participate in that, which are all undergraduates except our nursing and our education majors.
Okay.
And the reason for that is because they already have the practicum.
They already have their clinical.
It's already incorporated into their curriculum. And so a part of the online course the student then takes is that they have weekly journal reflections where it's asking them how they're developing and working on specific skills. So it's asking them to articulate and think about putting into words these kind of concepts of these transferable skills. What does that actually mean? And how can they actually explain that they've developed them in practice?
But the real test is if they can actually transfer that to the workplace.
Mm-hmm.
And so are there ideas about how you might assess students in terms of real experiences and certainly transferring it into a new environment, much like they would experience in an internship or beyond graduation in their careers?
Yes. A couple of pieces for that. For the students doing internships or their different experiences, we send evaluations out to their employers and supervisors at the midterm and at the end of the semester. And we ask them to rank students on those different transferable skills and how it specifically could apply to their situation. So that allows us to get from the employer perspective, like, are we being effective in terms of allowing students to develop these skills? And then we do it at the point of graduation. We send a first destination survey which asks the students to rank themselves and say, have learning about these skills been valuable to you, or have you used them and applied them in a situation? And we do send that out at the post-grad, immediately after graduation. We don't have as much evaluation piece for post-Wesleyan life, other than some of the feedback that we receive when we talk to recent graduates.
Okay. Would be interesting to do a longitudinal study, wouldn't it?
Yes.
Yeah.
Are there any more questions for Dr. Blake or Dr. Neal?
I have one on the purple briefcase. Do you have a lot of alumni who have registered for that since the time that we just had that? I think it was like 2 sessions ago. It was introduced to us during these sessions.
That is a great question. I just updated the my spreadsheet. So if you'll allow me 1 second, I can pull up and do a count. I believe it's about 45 to 50, but I want to make sure that I give that correct number. Let's see here. We have had a jump since.
We need a lot more.
Yes, we
And
do
any
need,
any of you who have not signed up, we'd love for you to sign up. And if you have trouble signing up, please contact Mallory.
yes.
We had an informational session on this. I believe it's recorded on our website to help you over some of the logistical maneuvers in how to set up your mentor profile. So we'd love for you to do that. And we'd love for you to volunteer to serve on one of Mallory's panels when we focus in on specific careers. So please do contact her. We will have more information in our newsletters when we do specific panels for alums and some alumni clubs. Just very quickly, Mallory, something. Can you tell me what you did with the Atlanta Club recently in just a few minutes?
Yes,
We promised we would not go over 45 minutes to respect people's day and schedules.
Yes. Oh, and to follow back around, there are currently 43 mentors on Purple Briefcase, just to say that. Yes, I met with the alumni, the Atlanta Alumni Chapter, and we had almost a similar discussion to what we talked about today, because I wanted to just introduce the CCD and what are key resources and how we offer that support. And then talking about how becoming or being a mentor to a student can look different and not be a long time commitment. Because oftentimes we hear the word mentor and we think that it's going to be a long-term relationship. You have to be a Yoda-like figure to the student, but there are a variety of ways to offer that support, where it can be those one-time interactions, those informational interviews, or those participation in those information sessions. So it was a great way to connect with the alumni in Atlanta and kind of talk about some of the key topics we discussed here today.
Well, I want to.
Can I just say one thing quick, Kathy?
Yes.
We're also starting a new initiative that we're going to try this summer to get our, some of our trustees have initiated this, to get our students some paid internships over the summer. And we're going to reach out to alumni in the cities of those to be like a hostess to the city, right? To welcome them to the city, to kind of make sure that they know, where to go get, something good to eat, where to, just to kind of really connect and make sure that our students, if they're in a foreign city, but, an American city, across the country, are feel really welcome. So you might be hearing more about that when we get some of those set up. If you're in a city that we have an internship, we'd love to have you connect that way also.
Yeah, we're all looking forward to getting that project off the ground, and y'all may be hearing about that and those endeavors. Want you to know that this session has been recorded, so if you want to review it on our website, it will be available there in a couple days, maybe by the end of today. But thank you again, Mallory and Melody. You are champions for this program. We appreciate your hard work and forward thinking to make this Wesleyan's liberal arts education be more integrated into professional development because it is such an important piece. And not only for our students, but also for young alumni who could benefit, who are out there in their first jobs and still need some mentoring. So we hope to expand it for our young alumni constituency. But everyone, please take care, stay safe. Thank you for joining us today. And we'll see you next time. I do want to just put in a plug for something we're going to do on February 24th. It's called Conservatory Days, a look back at our special history with conservatory alumni. We chose February 24th because that's the 58th anniversary of this sad thing of the fire that destroyed the conservatory. But fortunately, we have alums who are graduates who will share what the life and times were like on the original College Street campus. So that's February 24th. I think it's the same time, lunchtime. So pass that on. You will be receiving e-blasts about it. So be on the lookout for that. And thank you so much for joining us today. Bye-bye and thank you.
Thank y'all.
Thank you so much.
Bye.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Kathy, don't go yet.
Hey, G. Hey, Jane. How are you?
I'm very good, and I'm excited about the handout that Sally McKenna prepared for us to take to guidance counselors regarding financial assistance from different areas. It doesn't have to be scholastic, and we are in good touch with the guidance counselor at Vestavia in Birmingham, and Sally Ort is handling the Hoover part with that document.
Wonderful,
So
wonderful.
just pray that it gets to the right people.
Well, it will, and Sally's done a wonderful job streamlining those forms for the Wesleyan First Award program. And I want to thank you for passing that on and getting Janet Ort involved. So,
Janet, I'm sorry.
yeah. So thank you for that.
Hi, Pris, and hi, Gail.
See you. Yes.
Kathy, how did I miss
How are
that
you?
Atlanta program? Is it, I wrote Sally and asked her, how was that?
It was sent out by e-blast,
Facebook?
several of them. Hey, Gail.
Okay, all right, I'll pay more attention. Thank you.
Rumi.
Hey, yes. How are you?
Very good.
Hi, Chris. Hi, Chris.
Great to see you.
This is the fun part.
This
So
is
much
the fun
fun.
part.
Thank you, Zoom.
Well, we've enjoyed these sessions, and we appreciate you making time for Wesleyan in your schedules for us to learn more about what we're doing here and to connect with each other. And it's always good to see your faces, and I'm glad to hear that everyone is doing well. Who is on the iPhone there? I just see an iPhone, but I don't know who. You must be on mute. I don't know, but we're so glad you were able to join us. I'm going to have to close the meeting, but I'm glad you attended. And if you have any questions, either email me at the alumni office or Mallory, and with your suggestions, or perhaps wanting to volunteer. We always need your help, and the students really need our help from sisters that have been there. We can help them in more ways than just career development. We can help them in all facets of life. And sometimes they just want to talk to someone who's been there. And that's what we can do to help. So think about that and do volunteer. And we'll see you next time.
Thank
Bye-bye.
Thank you very much. Bye-bye.
Thank you.